Hello everyone, my name is Tufiso and I am a product designer based in South Africa. So I am going to be presenting Peg, this project to you called Peg. And in effect, one of the things that it tries to solve is this problem that I've had where I would provide our marketing team with, let's say, for example, a banner template, right? And the banner template will look cool on web. They'll have this nice image on web. It'll fit everything. But then when we start going into the small breakpoints, things start losing value because, the image gets cropped out, etc., etc. And so what I'm saying here is that instead of cropping our images, let's start generating the things that we actually want. So what we have here is this sort of node-based, interaction here where I would provide something like a brief, and then I would have a match brand look node. The match brand look at node is the most powerful one that we have because this one references the brand kit that I've already created in onboarding. I'll show it to you quickly, but in effect, the brand kit is essentially just the brand name, a few style references where we can extract the color palette, a few other brand assets that I've provided. So this was a very dirty one. It's not, by any means the best way to do this. But just for the sake of an example, you can see I've also said, headings and body use a sans serif for both. And from this single match brand look, what we're able to do is start generating different aspect ratios or different breakpoint assets. For example, your web hero, your LinkedIn, your stories, all of this stuff can get created off of the one image instead of cropping, because you'll see now this is for a brand that I actually used for a different hackathon. It was called TaxiFlex, and the main thing around TaxiFlex is actually the taxis or these these minibuses that you see here. So we're not cropping those out as you would traditionally, but we're keeping them in focus, but also leaving some room for us to add text through Canva or Figma or some other provider. The nice thing here is obviously we can use your previous or generations as input for another one. So one thing, for example, you'll see here is that this web hero initially had more cars in the background. This one didn't. Let's say I liked this one. So I can actually just use this one as a reference to go and create our LinkedIn banner. And you'll see here that we can also always just attach more briefs, attach more references if we want. And I think that would have been a nice one. For example, if I wanted to add a reference image to this, I'll just add it to this node. And instead of just the brief, it will take the brief and the reference and create the brand look. This is something that we've done in this iteration here, where I have a brief, I have a reference, and then from there, I'm able to create this asset. You'll see that this asset is using our colors. It's using our logo. You'll see that this woman holding a hand was actually briefed in. And essentially now what we can do is start editing the scene. I can click on run here just to change the values. But while that loads, it's important for us to note a few things. So we're using Genblaze as the model that we're running everything through. Everything is running through Genblaze, and we're using Backblaze B2 as the only persistence layer. So we're using Clerk for account management, so auth and whatnot, but everything is stored on Backblaze. We have our manifests stored as well. You'll see that if I click on any of the nodes, our manifest is verified, and this is the output of the manifest. And this is something that's going to be stored as our provenance layer in B2. So really cool there. So you'll see it generated, the edited scene generated something a bit different from what we had originally. And honestly, this is just something that you'd have to play around with from a briefing perspective. Maybe I would have to, actually, this is a very basic brief. I can actually click on enhance brief to maybe get something a bit more aligned to what I'm looking for. But yeah, this is Pig. And that's how we're using Genblaze and B2, Genblaze and Backblaze B2 to create this very cool tool for marketing professionals, design professionals, um, and hopefully making it easier for us to generate better assets and in a quicker and more efficient way. Thank you.